What's a school rumor you heard as a kid that turned out to be true years later? In 8th grade, there was a rumor that our beloved history teacher, Mr. Andrews, suddenly quit because he found out the principal was stealing money from the school's fundraisers. Nobody believed it because Principal Howard always bragged about how much money we raised for new computers and sports equipment. Every morning, he'd announce the latest fundraising totals over the intercom, praising parents for their generosity. But Mr. Andrews, who ran most of these fundraisers, just disappeared one day without saying goodbye. I remember walking into class and seeing a substitute teacher writing her name on the board. The whole class was confused because Mr. Andrews never missed a day. When we asked where he was, Principal Howard told us Mr. Andrews had a family emergency and wouldn't be returning. But Tommy, whose mom worked in the office, swore he saw Mr. Andrews and Principal Howard having a heated argument the day before. He said Mr. Andrews was waving papers around and yelling about numbers not adding up. Of course, being kids, we moved on quickly. The school got some old refurbished computers instead of the new ones we were promised. The football team kept using their worn-out equipment, but life went on, and soon Mr. Andrews became just another school memory. Fast forward 15 years, I'm working as an accountant at a local newspaper when a familiar name crosses my desk. Principal Howard had been arrested for embezzling nearly $800,000 from 3 different schools over 20 years. As I dug deeper into the story, I found Mr. Andrews' name in an old police report. Turns out he'd discovered discrepancies in the fundraising accounts. Principal Howard was only reporting half of what parents donated, pocketing the rest. When Mr. Andrews confronted him with proof, Principal Howard threatened to blacklist him from teaching in our state if he spoke up. But here's where it gets crazy. Mr. Andrews didn't just quit. He spent years gathering evidence. He'd made copies of every receipt, every bank statement, and kept detailed records of all the missing money. He worked as a substitute teacher at other schools, tracking Principal Howard's pattern. The whole time I was reading this, I remembered how Mr. Andrews used to teach us about whistleblowers in history, how one person standing up for truth could bring down corrupt leaders. He wasn't just teaching us history, he was living it. Last week I ran into Mr. Andrews at a coffee shop. He was grading papers, still teaching history but at a different school. When I told him I knew what really happened, he just smiled and said, "Sometimes the most important lessons take years to learn." Then he showed me something that gave me chills. He'd kept a class photo from our year. On the back, he'd written all our names and how much our parents had actually donated. My mom's $500 donation for new library books. Principal Howard had only reported $100. Principal Howard is serving 8 years in prison now. The school district had to apologize to hundreds of families who were deceived. But the craziest part? They found duffel bags full of cash in his attic, still in original bank wrapping with dates matching our fundraisers. They also discovered he'd done the same thing at his previous schools, but nobody had been brave enough to challenge him. Mr. Andrews was the first person to stand up to him, and it cost him his dream job at our school, but he never gave up until justice was served.